You heard the title right. I moved to school 4 times in a span of less than 2 years, in a span of less than a year and a half. Here's actually a little quick story. Summer of 2023, summer of 2024, I went to East Brunswick High. I went to high school near Rutgers. I went to high school, and then I moved from that high school to another high school, and then that high school to another high school, back to that high school, and to a new high school. I know. What teenager moves 4 times? Actually, in my entire life, I think I moved 9 or 8 different schools from town to town, especially also across the world. But I'll put that in another video. But yeah, I did move 4 times as a high school student, and this is my experience. And I will tell you guys, I will break down what I learned from all of that, from meeting new friends, going to an entirely different environment, going from more of a rural to urban, the fear of anxiety, the fear of shame, the fear of depression. You know, most kids that I talk to, a lot of them, I always ask, like, yeah, how long have you been living here? They say their whole life. They ask me, I'm like, I've been here, I've been at A, I've been at X, I've been at X1, I've been at X2, I've been so many areas. And they're like, dude, your life must be really cool. Like, dude, you get to travel so much. Like, you get to change schools. I'm like, yeah, it's nice. It's cool. But you got to understand the feeling, like, every single consecutive time when you had to change schools, you leave your friends, you make friends there. After that, you leave, you make friends there. After that, you leave, make friends anew. It's like, at this point, it's like a skill you kind of develop. And what I learned from all of this is that you find out, like, who gives a fuck about you. Now, what does this mean? What this means is, when you're out of school, you talk to kids, right? Let's say you left. Do you think that the friends, if you're a teenager watching this or whoever, if you think that the friends who were really, like, cool with you, that you thought you were cool with at your old school, and then you moved to a different school and they just fucking completely ghost you, do you really think they were your friends? Genuine question. Like, do you really think that they were your friends? Because, bro, I've had so many instances, so many times where they just ghosted me, or they just completely stopped talking to me. They didn't even check up on me. I remember some kids, I'd text them, they just not respond at all. So a good part of it all is, bro, you learn how to differentiate between real people and fake people. And that's what I'm learning this at such a young age. I'm very grateful. You know, it's definitely not easy to keep moving to schools, because it's like putting an animal in its natural habitat into a different habitat, into a different habitat, into a different habitat. Like, it's not normal, right? But I never really minded. Like, I always thought of it as, you know, it's just school. You know, it's just new school. But now that I think about it, it really builds character. It built my character. It gave me discipline. And I really feel that if I didn't get out of my comfort zone of moving to a different school and not being an absolute bitch about, no, I want to stay at this school because all my friends are here, I want to stay at this school. No, bro, when my parents said we were moving, I was like, all right, well, let's move. But then sometimes, you know, it does get frustrating, because you make your friends, right? You connect to the environment. It's, as I said earlier, it's like an animal slowly adapting to their environment. Right when they're about to adapt, they change. I changed 4 different schools in less than 2 years. Different districts. So I went to this other school I'm not going to say which town, but I went to this school. Let's just call it A. I went to A, and then I moved to Indiana. It was like family reasons. So I moved to Indiana, was there for like 3 months. 3 months! I was in Indiana for I'm in New Jersey now, but I lived in Indiana for 3 months. 4 months of school. And then I came back to my old school. So that's moving the third time. And then now I'm in a different school. Completely different school. That's like an hour away from my old school. So that's 4 times. I moved 4 times. And I'm only 16. I'm 16 years old and I moved schools 4 times. And not also forgetting the fact that for the amount of times I moved different schools early in my life too. Because I lived in China for 7 years. But I want to cover that in another video. But I moved schools 4 times. And what I really learned is amazing. And I think it's something that a lot of kids would never learn in their lifetime, because they always stick to one neighborhood, right? You ask any other kid, like, how long have you been living here? They say, well, I've been living here my whole life. And that always like clicked with me. Like, dude, that's so boring. You lived here your entire life? Because my family was always, let's move here, move to there, move to there. Business here, okay, let's move there. Business here, let's move there. It's always constantly changing, which it got frustrating. And it got depressing sometimes too. Because, you know, as a young teenage boy, right, you just want to become like a good friend. You just want to build a community, right? And I remember when we kept changing schools, it did get to me. Like, it got depressing and lonely. Like, I remember when I moved to Indiana, because I had all my really cool friends in my old town in New Jersey, and I moved to Indiana. It's a completely different new environment. Like, it got depressing. Like, my family was amazing and all, but like, it's like going to school, it just felt like an entire different environment. It felt like putting a fish in an ocean into like some fucking desert, or like another ocean that it's not familiar with. It's like an entirely new environment. But I slowly adapted. To Indiana, you know, more farmland. And then after that 3 months, I moved back. It just felt like such a sudden change. And obviously it was another family problem, right? So I moved back, and what's interesting is I moved back, right? And I was not the people that I was friends with when I originally went to that school. I was not friends with any of them anymore. In fact, I actually made new friends. And this one friend, I still talk to him, and he's really a real one. None of those people I don't even associate with any of them anymore. And it's very interesting, because before I left, I was like, oh, my old friends, like they're gonna leave, like I'm leaving them and all that. And I went back to my old school. I'm pretty sure I went back in I think January or December, somewhere in that era. I went back, and the friends, I was not friends with any of them. And I made new friends. And I remember that particular day, like, the friend that I thought I was closest with, we're not close anymore. Just fell apart. And what I learned from that is that friends is just a label. You can label anybody as a friend. You can label your coworker as a friend. You can label your neighbor as a friend. But it's what they do for you, how you interact with them, how much they care about you. That's really the friend. That's the friend, right? And that just showed me like how fake people are. Like just completely fake. And that really just, it's so light. Oh my gosh. Wait, let me just change here. Maybe it's better. And that just like completely changed my perspective on friendship and the people you surround yourself with, which is why I actually do not give I do not give a shit about how, like, when people make fun of me, you don't have any friends. Like, I don't even care anymore because I've grown to it. I've adapted. And it truly changed my perspective on life, on the entirety of life. And that life is a game. You have players who want to add you, but they try to use you. They try to gain something out of you, and then when you actually see that connection when they need you or whatever, like to show true friendship, they're not there for you. They're not there. I mean, think about it right now as a viewer right now. If you're watching this, think about it as of right now. Name 5 friends. 5 friends or whatever friend. Name some that actually give a fuck about you, who regularly check up on you, who you actually met, like, you have a good chemistry with. Name some. I'm sure you're not even gonna go above 5. Yeah, there's Timmy, there's George, Layla, whatever. There's like probably 3 or 4 people, because that's all you need, bro. And that's what I realized by moving 4 times to different schools. You don't need a lot of friends. And I used to be so afraid, like, I used to be so embarrassed about, like, not having enough friends, like, not sitting alone and all that stuff. Bro, I remember I was sitting in Indiana school, I was sitting alone, and I went to another school, I was also sitting alone, and then I went back, and I actually met new friends. I just want to keep this short and simple. The things that I learned from moving to so many schools is 3 things. Love yourself, appreciate yourself. 2 is don't make friends all about quantity. It's more about quality, and you find out who the fucking real people are. The 3rd is do not be afraid. When I was moving to different schools, I was just scared. I was actually scared. I remember I would walk into class and I was just so scared. But as a person who's moved from school to school to school to school, there's nothing to be afraid of, bro. There's really nothing to be afraid of. Everybody's in their own shit. Everybody's in their own system. You have to just be yourself. Just be yourself. And that's what I learned as a teenager who was moved 4 times. It did fuck up my academics, but I definitely learned something there. I learned something there. And I learned something that someone else will probably learn in 30, 40 years in their lifetime. And I'm very grateful for that. And I want to share this with you guys. So if this message really resonated with you, I hope you can drop a like, subscribe. I love y'all, man. I really do. Whoever's watching this, I really love you, bro. Thank you so much for listening to me. All right, peace.